الحمد لله الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون ولا تكونوا كالذين نسوا الله فأنساهم أنفسهم أولئك هم الفاسقون أما بعد فإن خير الكلام كلام الله وإن خير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وإن شر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. I heard about a woman who lived by a large suburban masjid, and she had been raised in that community, and she accepted Islam as a young woman. Alhamdulillah, she changed her name and her clothes and her lifestyle, but it created a chaotic environment in her home. She totally lost her family support, but she persisted. Nonetheless, she persisted in her da'wah and in her dua to them for many years with little success. And then she stayed strong through 9/11 and the FBI interviews which followed. But in the end, she was so bullied inside of her masjid that she didn't just leave her mosque. She left Islam. This woman shared her story with me through her tears and through this devastating pain. I wish I had recorded her story. I would play it again and again at her mosque if I could. Look at what we're doing to each other. Today, approximately 75% Americans between the ages of 18 and 29 consider themselves to be spiritual but not religious. That includes Muslims. They believe in Allah. They just don't think that your mosque, that your masjid will bring them closer to Him. People are getting disengaged from the masjid all the time. We're busy during college and we get distracted when we're looking for a spouse. That makes sense. Life gets in the way. I mean, personally, starting a new career was a tough transition for me. I was pulled by the environment. But she was pulled by the masjid, and that is unacceptable. I was so upset that I went to her masjid. I stomped in. I was ready to pick a fight, I'll be honest. Where's the imam? Let me talk to him. Where are the board members? Let me talk to them. Where are the women who appoint themselves as the religious police? And a man urinated in my Prophet ﷺ's mosque. And today we're intolerant of crying infants? The Prophet ﷺ listened to people that were known hypocrites. And today we have nail polish police. And I got to the door of the masjid and it was locked. And a sweet old man, he came by and he unlocked the door for me. He turned on the lights. And a strange thing happened. I came inside and it looked just like the masjid that I go to. The people sounded like the same people at the masjid that's closest to my house. The imam wasn't there, but someone pointed out one of the board members. And I thought, finally, it was the same old guy that had opened the door for me a few moments ago. You know, the primary purpose of the masjid is to point people to Allah. Right? The masajid that have been hubs of the Muslim community. This is where Islamic culture comes from. We all We all learn to take our shoes off here. We learn to read a foreign language beautifully. Have you ever had a Ramadan without a masjid? Do you know what that's like? Like breaking the fast alone is so anticlimactic. We need each other. We need each other. We cannot do mosque alone. Many masajid today are running on autopilot. The sky has changed. The terrain today is very different than it was when places like this were started. Let me illustrate what that means. When I went to college, when we went to college and participated in the MSA, right, the Muslim Student Association there, I mean, those organizations are fun. They're funny. They're relevant. They're impactful. They're valuable. They speak my language. The people are diverse. They're very tolerant places. The women have taken leadership roles in their MSAs, and then graduation comes around, and people go back to the suburban masajid, which are still quagmired in moonsighting politics. And the only youth activity generally is like this hifz program, right? Or a basketball court. I mean, even today, a very small percentage of the masajid have women on the board. My friend at the gym surprised me during a workout, and he said that he was a Muslim too. I was like, I mean, we've been working out together for quite some time, and one day he just tells me that he's a Muslim. I was totally shocked. I said, I mean, which masjid do you go to? How come I've never seen you outside of this context? And he said that a couple of years ago, the last time he went to a mosque, as he was walking in, someone came to him, they put their finger on his tattoo on his neck, and they said, "Your prayer will not be accepted because of this." And so he turned around, he walked out, and he said that I've never been back to a mosque since. Yeah, there are dozens, if not hundreds of stories like this, and worse. This is not about Islam. Our faith is tolerant, relevant, simple, fair. Our faith is about covering each other's mistakes. Our faith is about acceptance. It's about gratitude. This is about us. We are the issue. So let's start by admitting that we've got a problem or two. We're the new Muslims today. In almost every masajid, all the major masajid, on average, they get about 16 new Muslims a year. That's about one a month-ish. That means that at the end of the year, there should be more than 150 new Muslims at that community every year. So if a place has been, 16 a year, more than one a month. So at the end of the year, you'd say about 12-ish new Muslims there, right? So if a masjid has been in business for more than a decade, you would expect there to be about 150 new Muslims there. 10 years. And then in the next 10 years, you would expect those converts' kids to be there as well. Right? Ish, plus or minus. Where are they? Where are they? There are people that have accepted Islam here. Where are they? We've got a problem. Where's a program that helps Muslim girls from this community marry Muslim boys from this community? We've got a problem. Does your masjid rely heavily on fund begging to make it from one year to the next? How sustainable is that? Think long term. How long is that methodology going to last? We've got a problem. I mean, if you really want to be honest, porn is a problem in our community. Drugs are a problem in our Muslim community. Divorce is a problem in our Muslim community. Obesity is a problem in our Muslim community. We've got to be honest with ourselves and just admit that we've got problems. That the old ways are not working. Lectures about unity don't bring more unity in a community. Right? Khutbas about the importance of the Friday prayer don't bring more people to the khutbas. If you get nothing else out of this message, then let's understand, let's agree that if we don't make some key lifestyle changes today, then this cancer is going to be irreversible. A guy named Ahmed Eid, his wife Marwa, and I have created a film about our masjid. It's called Unmasked. The name of the film is Unmasked. It's not a film about Islam. I repeat, this is not another movie about Islam. There's no ayat in this movie. There's no hadith. There's no seerah in the movie. It's a film about the culture that we have created in the American masajid. The word unmasked sums up how many people feel. They may not be here. They're unmasked, spiritual, but not religious. Right? We love the mosque, but it hurts when the mosques bite. The goal of our film is simply to start a conversation. We have to have open conversations about where we want to take our Muslim community and how can we get there. So ultimately, all of this is about a vision. What will our Muslim community look like in 20 years, in a generation, in 10 years? Dare I say 3 years? We created a teaser for the film and just dropped it in the middle of YouTube. If I had known it would have been that easy, then I wouldn't have spent 2 years in an MBA program. Our teaser got 35,000 views in a day. It sparked an international conversation. Most notably, there's a think tank called the ISPU, which has started a research project called Unmasked Reimagining Muslim Spaces. And they're going to share best practices with you, not me. I didn't come here with solutions like if you do the following 3 things, then we're going to fix 90% of the problems at this community. I came here to help start that conversation, or to add a couple of ideas to it. But this think tank is actually going to study 2,000 masajids across the US, and they will publish those best practices white paper. I'm not going to ask you to wait for that white paper. I don't think that we really have the time. But in creating this film, we've been to more than 50 masajid around the US. We've interviewed more than 100 people, imams, board members, average community members, young people who don't show up. And we've collected about 50,000 hours of footage. That's a lot of material. And I'm not going to tell you 3 solutions, but I'm going to give you 1 solution. After all of that, I have an answer for you. And I'm excited to tell you right now. I'm not even going to wait till the second khutbah. The answer is you. The answer is me. We are the solution. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله ولكم أستغفروه إنه Alhamdulillah, thumma alhamdulillah, amma ba'd. I asked some of my friends and some of my students, where do young people go for those spiritual messages? You know, if you're not coming to the masjid, then where do young people who want some type of spirituality, where do they go? Some of my students allowed me to join them at a church. We parked the car. We ate donuts and sipped orange juice while we waited for a shuttle, an air-conditioned bus, to pick us up. It dropped us off at the front of the church, where we walked up the steps and shook hands with the senior pastors and some of the other leadership of that church. Ushers led us to some seats, and we shook hands with everyone sitting around us. Men and women sat near each other, and the women were dressed very conservatively. It was warm smiles. It was hugs. It was an exchange of business cards. Can you share your email address, etc. During the service, I got some hot coffee. I used the restroom, not because I needed to, just because I wanted to check it out. It was immaculate. The sermon was very relevant. The message was simple, but I still remember the topic. And there was no hard sell to convert. There was no warning about the brimstone. Okay, so they've got money, right? There's a small church in a strip mall close to my house. They offer second marriage counseling. They offer skill-building courses in Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, in Spanish, for free, every day. They have a weekly men's group, a women's group, a seniors group. They have service projects for teenagers. That parking lot and that strip mall is full from the activity of that church almost every single night, and especially on Sundays. I can't help but reflect on the message of Isa alayhi salam. In Surah Maryam, verse 31, Isa alayhi salam says, I'm a blessing everywhere I go. وَجَعَلَنِي مُبَارَكًا أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُ. I am a blessing everywhere I go. Isa said that Allah made him a blessing whatever he did and wherever he went. We know that for a fact. It's in the Quran. It's guidance for us, for the believers. Now, our mantra should be to make it better. When we go to our homes, look, if you saw some trash on the ground in your house, you would pick it up. You would put it back where it was supposed to go, in the trash bin. Right? But what if you saw a bicycle in your neighbor's driveway and you know that they were about to pull in? وَجَعَلَنِي مُبَارَكًا أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُ. Be a blessing. Go over there. Take the bicycle, move it out of the driveway. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, removing something harmful from the path, that is faith. If you go to the masjid and you're bothered by a sign with bad grammar or poor punctuation, then don't just laugh and ignore it. Instead, go home, create warmer, friendlier signs, fix the grammar, bring it back and replace the old sign. That's making it better. That's being a blessing. There was a guy who passed away and bequeathed his library, his home library, to the masjid. The family, after his janazah, brought, it might have been 100 boxes of books. And they lined up the back wall of the masjid with all of these books. There were so many, in fact, that they started lining up the long foyer, which was from the entrance of the masjid to where you would enter the musalla. And they just lined that up with more books. The people would go through that narrow passageway, and after a very short period of time, everyone just kind of ignored it. It was like white noise. They were using the boxes of books as a bench to take their shoes off. Right? And in the back wall of the mosque, no one even really noticed it after a period of time. I mean, let's be honest. Some of us still have boxes from our last move, right, in our garages and attics. And you might have moved like 5 years ago. One fellow who lived by Isa's creed, he decided to make things better. He said, every time I go there, I'm not going to move a whole box, I'm just going to move a book or two. And so whenever he would go to the masjid, he'd pick up 1 or 2 books from that first box as soon as he entered, and he'd come inside the masjid and he'd put it in the right place. And after a week, that first box was gone. There was a little bit more space where that door opened. After a month, another box was gone. After a few more months, almost that entire entryway had been cleared out. And it took about 2 years, but all of those boxes eventually disappeared. And now that masjid has beautiful books lining the back wall. In fact, when you want to refer to it, people call it the library mosque. All because of one person. They wanted to be a blessing. They lived by this verse. وَجَعَلَنِي مُبَارَكًا أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُ from Surah Maryam. It's easy to be a blessing at the mosque. You're kind of expected to be on your best behavior when we come to the masajid. But can't we make it better everywhere we go? Isn't this ayah for us? Everywhere we go, make it better. The next time you're in the grocery store and you're about to check out, you grabbed a couple of extra bananas. Instead of just taking those extra bananas and putting it in front of the People magazine, you could take it back to where you got it from. You could arrange it there nicely, or you could hand it to the checkout clerk. We can make it better. At your office, use a restroom. If you see a mess on the sink or countertop, ask yourself, what would Isa do? Take a minute of your time. Tidy up. Wipe off the countertop. I know you didn't make that mess. I know that there's probably someone who's paid to clean that up for you later on that evening. But the message is very simple and it's very clear. وَجَعَلَنِي مُبَارَكًا أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُ. Can't we challenge ourselves to be a blessing wherever we go, whatever we do? I've known someone who always smells so pleasant. And you know exactly the path that they've taken throughout a house. It's just this wonderful smell. His name, by the way, is Yasser Isa Burjas. That gives new perspective to what would Isa do. But if you knew him, then you know that he definitely makes things better. When you travel in your car, when you go to the gym, when you eat at a restaurant, when you go home to your family, even when you check your email, everywhere that you go, look for an opportunity to apply this verse. وَجَعَلَنِي مُبَارَكًا أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُ. The goal is to leave the place better than you found it. Let your presence be evident. Let it be known that you were there by the fact that the place is cleaner. It's sweeter, it's more organized. It's more blessed when you leave. And here's the key. Start small. Remember that it's a micro habit. Whenever you sit in your car, take one piece of trash out. You'll find that in a couple of days, your car will be evidently neater. Do just one push-up. One warm compliment to your spouse tonight. Can you accept this challenge? And ultimately, you know what? No one may ever notice. But that's okay too. Because the Creator will notice every time. And He says, is there any reward for goodness other than goodness? A friend posted a short note about a difficult time in her life. She was struggling financially. And on one occasion, she ordered some food from a drive-thru. And the cashier said that the previous driver had paid for the next couple of orders. He had just handed her a $100 bill. Her food was free that afternoon. She said that she had no idea who paid for her meal that day. But she has made hundreds of prayers for that person. And she's paid it forward too. She buys gas for random people. She offers water bottles to homeless people. She has paid for many, many meals behind her at drive-thrus. And that's my book recommendation for the 7 or 12 of us that still read books. There's one called Pay It Forward. You might have heard about the movie. But that book offers a visceral experience. I've forgotten about many important business decisions I made one day, but I can't forget about the stranger who paid my parking meter. I mean, what would you think about a stranger that bought you coffee one morning? Can you imagine what would happen if more people ultimately applied this verse? وَجَعَلَنِي مُبَارَكًا أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُ. How would people behave on the freeways? There'd be less honking for sure. This one ayah is so powerful. I am a blessing everywhere I go. What if husbands and wives applied this at home? There's so much barakah that people are drawn to this verse. Think about the charity that people would give. My challenge is that we fully apply this verse in our lives, in everywhere we go. What are we going to do when the blessings are so abundant that they spill out of our cups onto the lives and cups of the people all around us? When you laugh, then other people smile. When you buy someone a meal, then they'll want to pay it forward. And how might the actions of one person have affected one lady that left the masjid because she was bullied there? It's possible that she might never have left Islam. What would happen inside of our masajid if more people applied this verse? What would happen if you applied this verse? Oh Allah, make this the chorus line repeating again and again in our heads. وَجَعَلَنِي مُبَارَكًا أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُ وَجَعَلَنِي مُبَارَكًا أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُ وَجَعَلَنِي مُبَارَكًا أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُ. Oh Allah, help us find ways to apply this verse every day and in every place that we go. Let us be a blessing to those around us. Put barakah in our hands and in our words. Oh Allah, make us better. Make us better than we were yesterday. Oh Allah, give us better health than yesterday. Oh Allah, make us sharper than we were yesterday. Oh Allah, give us better iman than yesterday. Oh Allah, make this community better than it was last year. Give this community more tolerance and more strength. Give this masjid a better, brighter vision. Let your blessings rain down on our families. Give us a better place in Jannah. Inna Allaha wa malaikatu yusalluna ala nabi. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim fil alamina. Innaka hamidun majid.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. I want to start with some sad news. My mother's